On today's edition of the program, we have decided to take a pause with the jargons and, of course, educate you on how to invest in the stock market. It is said that investing in the stock market can play a role against hedging against inflation, and with the current rise in inflation as well as the increase in the price of basic commodities and food, it is important that Nigerians understand the different investment opportunities that they can, put their monies into. And in today's edition of the program, we will be educating you on the basics of investing in the Nigeria stock market. And joining me to do that is Michael Ayodele, who is an investment analyst. Hello, Michael. Thank you for joining us on Business Daily.
Hi, Shamaka. Good morning and happy new year to you.
Okay, let's begin with the basics. Like I said in my introduction, with the rising inflationary pressures and all of that, it is important that Nigerians know just where to put their monies to hedge against inflation, to hedge against the rising cost of basic goods and commodities. So let's start from the basics. How do they get started? What advice would you give to someone who is completely new with investing in the stock market?
All right. Thank you, Shabuka. Okay, so I'm looking at inflation at 28.92%. When we saw the report from the MBS, right, on the 15th of this month, and that is quite very high, right? But then the question is, how do you hedge your savings, your savings against this inflation? And the stock market is one of the best ways. But then I think it is so important that we have to share more light on to divine or to know what the stock market really entails. Because really, why should I put my money in the stock market? Or however, you will see some Nigerians, an average Nigerian youth, a guy for instance, will love to play a bet, right, than to put his money in the stock market. And also you see an average lady, a lady in Nigeria, will love to spend her money on luxury, right, to invest the money in the stock market. But the question is, why is it that? It is because of there's a lack of clarity, right? So that is why people tend not to invest their money in the stock market. So now, what exactly is this stock market? So it is just a market like a normal market where you come and buy, right? So where we have buyer, we have seller, so the forces of demand and supply. Okay, but the question is, what exactly are we buying, in the stock market? So very simple. What we are buying, is shares, or so to say, stock. All right. So let me give you a simple analogy, all right, to this. So take for instance now, say Michael wants to start a business, all right? So let's say a popcorn business for instance, all right? And Michael does not have the whole capital. So let us say the capital, cost about half of £1,000,000, right? But Michael can't afford the whole capital because really, he has to invest money in buying machine. He has to invest money in buying those ingredients, right? And also the stand as well. But instead of Michael to quit, that business, Michael have to approach probably his friends, and let's say that Michael has 4 friends, right? Let's say he has a friend called Telma, he has a friend called Asizat, and Tolu and Chiamaka. So he approached them and said, you know what, I want to start a business, and this business is all about popcorn, and this business, worth about 500,000 naira, but I don't have the whole money. So what if all of you, invest in my business, right? So having said that, all of them, take the bold step and they invest, some portion of their capital, of their money into market business. So it means that all of them, they have a stake in that business, right? So that is what it means when you say you are buying a particular share, in a company. So it means that you are owning a particular unit or a portion in that company. So overall, buying of shares, means that you have a stake or a portion in that business. So if Chiamaka sees that and Tolu and Telma, invest in a market business, so it means that they have a particular share or amount in that
Okay, Mr.
business, right? So
Ayodele, let me
what
cut you
it means
short there.
exactly.
Let me cut you short there, and just so we're on the same page. What you've said now is that you talked about the need for clarity within the,
Yeah.
the investment space, and then you talked about how buying a share means I have a stock in a certain company. But for the benefit of our viewers who are watching and wondering, okay, when you go on the stock market website or whatever stock market we're talking about worldwide, there are a variety of companies listed there. How then, okay, that's when education and research comes into place. But how then can our viewers know which one to go for, which one not to go for? Can you educate them on the right investment decisions to make on the stock market and how to go about it?
Okay, so thank you for that, Shamaka. I mean, so it is so expedient that before you put your money, into shares or before you invest in any company, so you have to have a thorough understanding, do some research. All right. So the first thing there is you have to first understand the business model, of the company. So take for instance now, you go to the NGX and want to buy Dangote Cement shares, right? So the first thing there is you have to first understand, the business structure of Dangote. Do you understand? So having looked into that, so you have to look into the performance over time, right? Although some people do not have a quantitative background, right? So that is where you have to seek an advice from a financial expert, or from a research analyst, to do those things for you. But in a situation whereby you understand or you have that quantitative background, so what you have to look into is you have to look into the business structure of the company, which is so important. You have to look how the financial report, look at the performance over time, like about the last 5 years. So how has the company been performing? So even though in a time of adversity, can this company stand the test of time? So take for instance now, if you're investing your money in telcos, telecommunication, like MTN, so you and I know that come what may, right? So MTN, we always stand the test of time because everybody, we have to use data in one way or the other. In fact, COVID-19, give us, a proper perspective into that, right? Because we all see what happens, to that kind of company because everybody has to use data, isn't it? So you have to understand one, the structure and also the model of the company very well. You have to conduct your due diligence, right? You have to look at the historical performance, what has this company been doing, over time, right? So also the kind of product they have, right? So is it a cyclical or it is not? So is it what everybody is using, right? So you and I know that everybody have to use data. So if there's no data, today I won't be here, right? So you have to look into those things. But in the case whereby you are not quantitative enough, that is where you have to seek, advice, from a research analyst or from an investment analyst. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, but apart from the business model and say the kind of products the company gives out or the kind of services that the company gives to people, what other signals would you advise a beginner to pay attention to when making investment decisions? What other signals aside from the, say, like you said, the business model, the product or service that they produce? What other signals can we look out for?
Okay, so I'm talking about the signal that you have to look out for, right? Quite a number of things, are attached to the signal. Do you understand? Take for instance, now you have to consider some global macroeconomics, right? Let me give you a very good example. So take for instance now, I mean last year around September, right? So when Russell, downgraded Nigeria capital, I mean stock market, right? So from a frontier market to an unclassified market, right? So what happened that very day? So we saw a lot of sell-off, in the market, all right? Sell-off in the market. In fact, at that time, Zenith Bank, released an impressive H1 result, right? So ordinarily, that kind of result that Zenith Bank released, it ought to move Zenith Bank shares. But really, because of that news, that news that Nigerian stock markets have been downgraded, from a frontier market to an unclassified market, right? So we saw sell-off in the market. There was a bearish outing in the market. In fact, all the old sector, went red. Zenith Bank, which released, a very impressive result, right? So the share has also gone down. So these things, are very, very important. But for a beginner, might not be able to understand these things. So this is why that a beginner have to, subscribe to research house, to get quality research on anything. So and that is what Stephen do, to give out good research and report so that our investor, can be well informed about this thing. So as a beginner, so you have to see that you subscribe, to research houses to get quality information. Right?
One thing that you have said repeatedly is the importance of, information from investment analysts, from research houses and the likes. But let's move on now to having your portfolio. At what point does this beginner have their portfolio? And also let's touch on diversification in terms of a well-diversified portfolio. How does this work? Just guide us through that.
Okay, yeah. So now talking about diversified portfolio, quite very simple because really the essence of you diversifying the portfolio. So the objective is you are reducing the impact, of risks, right, on your money. That is just the major objective, right? That is the major objective that you are reducing the impact of risks, on your investment. Because take for instance now, let's say you put all your whole investment, let's say into one sector, into banking sector, or bank sector, and into a particular company, let's say GTCO for instance, right? So you put all your money to buy GTCO. Really, that is very, very risky for you because anything can happen, right? So GTCO can go up or can also lose. Right, but in the case whereby you have to spread it across, say you buy GTCO, right, and also you also invest some portion of money into Access, some portion of money into Dangote Cement, some portion of money into Dangote Sugar, and some portion of money, into corn oil. So it means that if at least one of those companies does not perform well, right, so other companies will definitely cover for the one which is underperforming, right? So the objective is you have to spread your egg across, so not putting them into one basket, right? So just note that the purpose of diversification, right, so is that you will reduce the impact of risks, on your investment.
Okay, we understand how economic events, financial events, global event has a way of affecting the stock market. And seeing all that's happening now within the Nigerian space and across the global economy, the election in the United States, the performance of the NGX right now, we saw sometime this week the all-share index hitting over 90,000 and a lot more. Would you recommend this period? It is the start of the year. A lot of people are talking and having conversations around, making money and growing their revenue base this year. Is this a good time to put your money in the NGX?
Okay, to answer your question, right, there is no particular time for you to put your money there. And I think that is one mistake that beginner do fall into, that, when is the right time for me to put my money in the stock market? Trust me. So the best time is now, right, to put the money there. All right. However, so if you are putting your money, in the stock market, so regardless of either inflation, about global event or thereabout, so you have to, look into stocks, with strong fundamentals, right? So talking about stock with strong fundamentals, so I mean that stocks where, in terms of anything, come what may, so this stock, can stand the test of time, right, regardless of what will happen. And obviously, this stock, can also, can easily bounce back, right? So you have to look into those things. So for a beginner, right, So one, there's no right time for you to invest your money. The right time is always now, all right? And two, why investing your money? So you have to also understand that, see, I want to put my money in a stock with strong fundamental justification. So those two things, are so germane when putting your money, I mean, in terms of the news or any other thing. So the first thing there is no perfect time, to put your money. The best time is now, right? So and two, why invest as well? So you also have to look out for stock, with a strong fundamental justification.
Well, like in the words of my guest, Michael Ayodele, there is no special time and the best time is now. Unfortunately, our time is fast spent, but we hope and believe that we have been able to at least touch on the basics as to how to invest in the stock market. Michael Ayodele, investment analyst, thank you for joining us on Business Daily. We appreciate your insight. We draw the curtains on today's edition of Business Daily, the final edition for the week. But we will be with you again on Monday as usual. We will be here to educate, inform, and give you updates and trends within the Nigerian business space and the global economy. My name is Chiamaka Inendu. Thank you for watching.